If you had told me a year ago that I'd be spending our 10-year anniversary quietly preparing to walk away instead of dreaming about the years ahead, I would have thought you'd lost it. Back then, I still held on to the idea that effort equaled endurance, that if you loved deeply and tried hard enough, things wouldn't fall apart, especially love. I didn't go for anything flashy, just something personal. Laura always mentioned she felt most at peace in places with soul, where the walls whispered old stories. So I made a reservation for 2 at Holloway House, a beautifully restored Victorian manor, a little outside town. Candlelight, a 3-course meal inspired by our first date. Just us. I didn't give her the details. Just said, be ready by 7, dress up a little. She raised a brow. Laura used to love surprises. At least, she used to. When she stepped out that evening, she was stunning. That black dress, those deep red lips. She looked like a photo from a fashion spread. I remember thinking, this is the reason I keep fighting for us. The drive there was mostly silent. Not strained, just quiet. I thought of saying something meaningful, but I didn't. I figured the night would speak for itself. When we pulled up, she actually smiled. This place is gorgeous, she said. I nodded. Thought you'd like it. The table was set just for us. Soft jazz playing from a corner trio. She chuckled. Wow, you really went for it. I smiled. 10 years felt like it needed more than pizza and a rerun. Midway through dinner, I pushed a small box across the table. Inside, a handcrafted wooden music box that played our old favorite, Yellow by Coldplay. She opened it, let it play, smiled, but something behind her eyes fell off. The evening moved forward, but something stayed behind. Laura was charming. She giggled when the trio did a soft cover of Can't Help Falling in Love, nursed her wine, made conversation. On paper, it was flawless, but people aren't paper. When dessert came, she excused herself. I watched her walk down the hallway, phone in hand. Not the fact she took it, but how fast she unlocked it. That stuck with me. On the way to dinner, I caught a text flash across her lock screen. Just a preview. Missed you today, from someone saved as L. I brushed it off. Could be anyone. Lauren, Leo, Lacey. But the name Liam stabbed a little. Liam worked with Laura once. Too polished, too charming. She always said he was just a flirt. But once, I caught him looking at her like a man doesn't look at someone else's wife. I let it slide. She came back a few minutes later. All good. I asked, yeah. She said, waving off the question, strong wine. She smiled again, but it didn't quite touch her eyes. A while later, she leaned in and asked, do you ever wonder what life would have been like if we hadn't gotten married so young? I glanced up. That smile was distant, too composed. I'm not saying I regret it, she added quickly. Just curious. That's normal, right? I hesitated. Depends what you're wondering about. She gave a short laugh, finished her drink, and stared away. That's when I knew nothing about this night was going to fix anything. After dinner, we headed to the lounge area. Just us, for a few moments. Then familiar faces began filtering in. People I quietly invited for a toast. Mark and Jenna from college, Diane from Laura's job, my cousin Alex and his wife. Laura always said these people were her second family. I thought she'd be touched. Laura looked briefly surprised, but adjusted quickly. Hugs, drinks, laughs. This is amazing, Jenna said. Told Greg if he ever did this, I'd marry him twice. Laura laughed. Be careful what you wish for. Marriage isn't always candlelight and string quartets. Laughter followed. I smiled, forced. Then Mark raised his glass. All right, he said, 10 years. I think Laura should say a few words. She tells the best stories. Everyone clapped. Laura stood, glass raised. 10 years, she began. Feels like 20. A few chuckles. When I married Justin, I thought I was doing the sensible thing. Reliable, kind, solid. I nodded, uncertain where this was going. But you can do everything right, choose safety, loyalty, and still wonder what it might have felt like to choose chaos. The room stilled. Maybe, she said softly. If Jimmy hadn't moved to Canada, I'd be raising a glass to him right now. Jimmy, the one before me, the wild card, the what if. I hadn't heard his name in years. She lifted her glass higher. Here's to 10 years with a good man, a steady man, the kind of man who never rocked a boat, which, depending on who you ask, is either the highest compliment or a warning. Polite applause followed. A faint wow under someone's breath. I didn't say anything. Just smiled that fake smile people wear when they've just been gutted and nobody notices. We didn't speak on the drive home. She leaned against the window, quiet, like none of it had happened. I drove in silence, her words echoing over and over. When we got home, she poured herself another glass of wine. Want one? She asked, like we were still normal. I shook my head. No, I'm fine. She sank into the couch. I followed. Want to talk about it? I asked. She glanced up. About what? That speech, I said. The part where I was your safe harbor, not your love. Or maybe the bit where your ex could have been the one. She sighed. It was a joke, Justin. You're so dramatic. No, I said. You are. I've just been slow to notice. She shifted, pulled her knees under her. You're reading too much into it. Am I? I asked, then paused. Who's L? She blinked. What? L. I repeated. Text popped up tonight. Missed you today. Want to tell me who that is? She looked away. It's Liam. Relax. We've chatted. That's all. Just chatted? Yes, she said flatly. You've always been weird about him. I paused again. Found a dinner receipt yesterday. On your desk. Her expression hardened. You went through my things? You left it out. I stepped closer. What hurts the most isn't just the lying. It's standing there while you use me as setup for your little speech. She stood. You're blowing this out of proportion. I didn't move. Was it him? Were you with Liam? Her lips parted, then closed. That was all I needed. The next morning, Laura left for a yoga retreat with her coworkers. Barely said goodbye. When she drove off, I stood there in the stillness. No yelling, no breaking glass. Just a quiet, final shift. Something changed, and I wasn't planning revenge. I just needed to see things clearly. While she was gone, I walked into her office. Her tablet sat on the desk, charging. No lock. She never thought I'd look. I tapped it on. The messages were already open. Liam Burke. No nudes. No hotel selfies. Didn't need them. The words told the story. Casual. Playful. Intimate. You get me? Last night was perfect. I can't stop thinking about it. That line about the upstairs room still smelling like cedar and lemon, it didn't take long to piece together. She'd been with him 2 weeks before our anniversary. Deliberate, quiet, significant. One photo showed them at dinner, heads tilted close, like the world didn't exist. Another from our wedding night, a selfie she captioned. Can you believe I once thought this was enough? I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I forwarded every message, every image to an encrypted email, then wiped the thread from her tablet. She would know I saw. I sat in her chair and stared ahead. I wasn't in a marriage. I was in the epilogue of her rewritten story. And I wasn't going to be the quiet man she outgrew. I didn't bring it up when she came home. I made her pasta, poured her wine, asked how the retreat went. She smiled. I nodded. Inside, I was already gone. Next day, I called Kevin, college friend turned divorce attorney. Quiet, sharp. I told him I wasn't ready to pull the trigger. Just wanted clarity. He said we'd be smart. Quiet, dignified. That night, she went to bed early. I stayed up, compiling everything, the texts, the receipts, the timeline. Not for vengeance, for the truth. Then I called Mark, asked if he was free Sunday. Depends. Why? I need a space. Small group. I've got something to say. He hesitated. Is this about Laura? It will be. He didn't ask more. Just said, you got it. By Friday, everything was in place. The email, The flash drive, the signed papers. Laura had no idea. She thought things were normal again. I'd just gone back to sleep. Sunday, brunch at Mark's. She laughed with Diane, kissed Jenna on the cheek. Like none of it ever happened. Half an hour in, I stood up. Hey, I want to say something. Mark dimmed the lights. A TV screen glowed. This is an anniversary celebration, I said. But since you were at our dinner a few weeks back, I figured you deserved a little context. Slide 1, our wedding photo. Smiles. Youth. Hope. Slide 2, the dinner photo. Us, surrounded by candles. Then the text. Liam's name. Her words. You get me? Still smells like cedar. Can you believe I thought this was enough? Then the restaurant photo. Them. Clothes. Laughing. Laura froze. I walked over. Pulled an envelope from my coat. Legal separation, I said. No pressure. Sign when you're done pretending. Then I left. Didn't go home. I'd already packed a bag and dropped it at Daniel's place. Didn't hear from her for 3 days. Then the messages came. You blindsided me. We could have talked. You made me look like the villain. But never I'm sorry. Then came the excuses. Leah meant nothing. Let's reset. No, we couldn't, because it did mean something. I didn't respond. A week later, Diane told me Liam had vanished. Stopped replying. Once the fallout came, he ghosted. Liked her better when she belonged to someone else. Laura sent one final message. I don't know what to do. I deleted it. The papers came back signed 2 weeks later. No fuss. Just mailed them to my office like they were bills. I didn't toast. Didn't celebrate. Just breathed. Some call revenge getting even. For me, it was the quiet afterward. I didn't destroy her. I just made sure she couldn't destroy me. 3 months later, I sat at a lakeside cafe. Across from me was Sarah, someone I'd met once, briefly, at a fundraiser. We talked about books, about why we both hated small talk. She laughed at something I said. A soft, real laugh. No sideways glances. No coded words. Just presence. And for the first time in ages, I laughed too. Not because I'd won, but because I was finally free.